I hope you can hear me right now. So I received a comment in one of my recent videos, and this person wants to know about my journey healing acid reflux. So that's what I want to talk about. I'm gonna try to make a very, very long story into something really like concise. So I guess I'll let you know that long story short, I didn't eat too healthy. I didn't learn about eating healthy, um, about taking good care of my body growing up. So as a child, I always had like stomach things. Um, and I should also mention that my grandmother, yeah, she passed away due to, I believe it was a ulcer in her stomach. So, um, what happened was that I think it's because of unhealthy eating habits and because of a lot of stress and anxiety. All of that was the perfect storm for me developing acid reflux problems. And so my first episode of acid reflux landed me on a couch for weeks. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't remember how long it was, but it was a significant time where I was like on the couch, not taking care of myself. I think it was the first time that I experienced like severe depression. But thankfully, God helped me to come to my senses. And I remember one day getting up and saying, I'm going to make myself some waffles. And I got up and I started to think, okay, I'm going to take good care of myself. I'm going to like do what I need to do to get better, to get off of that couch. So, um, fast forward a few years, life was really stressful again. I was planning a wedding. I was um, planning to graduate, trying to figure out what will be the next moves, career-wise, and things were really stressful at my job. So I started to develop like this really strong, really, really strong pain again on my like chest area and my stomach area. Had very strong pain like on my abdomen. And the medications, I don't think they were like helping necessarily. But eventually I got through that. And fast forward to my second pregnancy, I developed this really bad acidity problem, and now it manifested in a different way where I couldn't eat. Like I felt like I was choking. It was torture to try to swallow things. And I thought, okay, as soon as I have my baby, I'm gonna feel better. Well, after I had him, I didn't feel better, and I still struggled with eating. So I would go to the doctor, and the doctors wouldn't necessarily help me. I don't think that they realized that there was something wrong with me. I think they just thought, well, you're a busy mom, so obviously, like, don't drink coffee, avoid the things that irritate the stomach, and you'll be fine. I think my doctor at the time, he just, maybe it was because of the way I was describing my symptoms. I tend to look really calm and stuff, so when I go to doctors, I'm not like I'm in so much pain. Please give me something for this. Like I just look like really calm, like so I'm guessing that contributed to him not checking me and as well as the way I was describing my symptom, I wasn't describing it as pain. I was describing it as tightness in my abdomen. And so years later, years later of struggling with not being able to eat healthy, um, I he finally, I went in and I'm like in Jesus' name, He walks in and he was about to let me go again, like tell me the same things, and then all of a sudden the light bulb went on, and he's like, "Wait, have we ever checked you for H. pylori?" Like, I don't know, like, I don't know what that is, so probably not. And you could see it in his face. He's like, "Oh my gosh, all this time it was that." So finally, I got tested, and right away I got the call. Yep, you have this thing, H. pylori. I'm like, "Well, what is that? Like, how come I got that?" And the lady was like, "Well, some people think that it's because like the people that eat out a lot, those are the people that get this." So that made sense because I've I had been eating out so unhealthy like years, and especially as new parents, like, well, let's just eat out, right? Like we're so busy taking changing these diapers to babies, feeding, like let's just eat out all the time. So I was very weak by that point. Like I was like almost like fainting, like just dehydrated a lot. And all of that caused a lot of anxiety, so I was already prone to anxiety and experiencing that on a lower level, but it just went off the charts with this experience. So he gave me the medicine. I had to take I don't even remember anymore. I think it was like 3 antibiotics and other things all at the same time. So I alternated, and it was really hard because I wasn't in the right mindset. It was really hard to even like document like when do I need to take the next one and things like that. It was a nightmare. It was awful because still wasn't eating healthy, and so all of that medication in a like empty stomach like was a nightmare. I'm pretty sure I was allergic to one of those medications, but the doctor was like, just take it anyway. Um, it made me feel like my throat was closing up, and when I described it to someone else at another ER, they're like, no, you take Benadryl and you come in like right away. You take two Benadryls and you come in if you ever experience that again. Um, but during those times, I would like start to pray, and um, the only thing that would help me was speaking in tongues in that situation. It was like the only thing that would get me through because that sensation would last like minutes. I felt like, yeah, like I was dying or something. Anyway, after telling my doctor, is there any way, and him checking if there were any other medications, said no, just finish it or else you're gonna have to do it all over again. So I got through it, thank God, with his help, and started feeling slightly better, became overconfident. Guess what I did? I went to this restaurant, eat out. I got a super unhealthy, like chili, what do you call it? Chili dog, and a delicious chocolate cake. And I put that in my stomach after what I had just gone through. And then all of a sudden I started feeling this terrible symptom where, like, again, the choking sensation. And that threw me off, like, really badly. So I'll after this, I'll link a video where you can see how thin I was. I kept losing so much weight, because I wasn't eating healthy, and I mean, I'm like laughing about it now, but if you see that video, you're gonna see how depressed and anxious and weak I was. Um, and I explain it more in depth in that video. But that pretty much lasted. So my son was born. My son is how old right now? He's 7. So I had acid reflux problems for like, yeah, like 6 years. And it wasn't until, was it like the end of this last year that I started to feel like, wow, God healed me from that. So how did God heal me from that? Um, I think it was through education about realizing these are the foods that make me have acid problems, so avoid those foods. And I was on like a Pepsid for years, like daily taking. And I think my doctor said it could be this, but he didn't prescribe me, diagnose me with this, or give me medication for it. But based off of my research, I'm pretty sure that I had or still have sometimes IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. So it got really bad, like last year and the year before. I was like on the bed again, like my first time experiencing acidity problems. I was on the couch for a while. This time it was like so many weird, awful symptoms. It I just wouldn't leave home. I stopped driving. I felt so sick. Like all of these symptoms, they sound like it's not a big deal, but actually, like when I was experiencing like tightness in my abdomen, I remembered like driving home with that feeling and like getting a panic attack while I was driving. And so it actually impacted my mental health a lot and my life, my family. We weren't going to restaurants and all that. Um, it was hard. So God, this is like God helped me while I was going through all of that. So, first of all, He helped me to realize that He's Emmanuel, God with us. So, when I was going through my symptoms, I knew that I could count on Him being there, that He was going to give me the grace that I needed to get through those things. And for anyone that's dealt with anxiety, severe anxiety, you know how difficult that is. So, God helped me through that. I was really reluctant to try medication for anxiety. I had been uh, prescribed some on my first, I think it was, yeah, the first time I developed acid reflux problems. And I was like unsure and I was really scared about potential side effects. So I was like, God, please let me know if you don't want me to take this. And so that night, I I ended up like dry heaving. And I was like, oh, that's confirmation that I shouldn't be taking this. And so it wasn't until years, like I think I started a year ago, that okay, I was like really bad. And even my husband was like, well, maybe you should consider, taking that. Because we were thinking, well, maybe the stomach things are related to like anxiety, and maybe the anxiety is causing those things, or maybe the things are causing the anxiety. So probably treating your anxiety is going to help with the other things, right? Overall health. I didn't want to. I'm like, I know how to manage it without it. But it got so bad that, like I was saying, I was on the bed. It was really hard for me to, do the things I needed to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it. And then after finally got the help. Oh, wait, before I go there, you know how I prayed the first time? And it might have been God, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Honestly, I just had that hesitancy, and I started to pray, God, if I should consider taking this medication. I don't want to take it because I'm under the impression that you told me not to take it like years ago. So lo and behold, I was watching YouTube videos and I saw one of the YouTube channels that I was watching was from Trinity Radio, Braxton Hunter. That video popped up with him and the guy from Capturing Christianity. I forget his name. Both of them started talking about their anxiety problems and the medication and how it helped them. So I'm like, maybe this is God's way of letting me know, hey, it's okay. So that kind of helped me to be more open-minded. I don't know why, but that helped me. And I didn't want to do something if God was telling me don't do it. That's my personality. So yes, Cameron Bertuzzi. Thank you, Faith. Um, so I started taking it, and I was so surprised that within no like a month of taking it, the stomach things settled. And wow, like what a difference. I wasn't having that pain, the IBS symptoms anymore, where it was unbearable. Like it was really, really bad whenever I would like get one of those attacks. Um, I started to be able to eat more. And here's the thing, I guess I'm hard-headed sometimes. I started eating unhealthy again. So I was like years of not being able to eat chocolate, eat chips, eat pizza. Like I started noticing I could eat, I can eat more. I don't have to eat these small portions anymore. And so, like, I didn't take care of my health, but so I gained a lot of weight and unhealthy weight. And that's what I'm working towards. But thankfully, thank God, even though like I could technically eat unhealthy and deal with those pains or whatever, like um, God is teaching me lately that part of part of my life as a Christian means taking good care of my body. And, it's so easy to ignore um, that I shouldn't be eating unhealthy because of all that, the history, and even my history in my family side where my grandmother died from an ulcer. So, and another aunt, I think recently she also passed away from that as well. Um, it's like being so hard-headed, right? Like, although God helped me and He healed me from that, I believe through that medication that I started taking, um, there's still that other part where, like, hey, you need to change the things that are harming you. So that's where I'm at. And I'm not taking any antacids anymore. I stopped taking that around the time that um, I'm trying to understand that last comment, Faith. Can you word it differently so I can better understand it? So I'm not taking, um, and I'm not really taking anything in order to get, to improve on that because I'm pretty good. As long as I don't eat greasy things, um, I'm good. I don't, I mean, maybe the occasional like feeling, but it goes away. So yeah, I believe God healed me from that, and a lot of it had to do with changing what I was eating and um, mostly dealing with my anxiety. And from what I read, people that deal with IBS, they can. Did you have vitamin B12 deficiency? Not to my knowledge, but I wasn't eating healthy. I probably wasn't taking my vitamins and all of that. So, um, what I do deal with is like low blood pressure. That's like my normal. And apparently, not eating is gonna be even worse for my blood pressure. So, all of that, was happening. Um, yeah, so I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, I read that people that deal with IBS symptoms, that those medications for like anxiety or depression can actually help with that. And so thankfully, God is helping me with all those things. And now it's like, okay, let's lose the weight. Let's lose the weight, let's eat healthy because adding, unhealthy fat is going to cause other problems health-wise long term. So that's where I'm at, and I know that it's not just the medicine because I know that I needed God, not just the medicine, like to rewire my brain, thinking the proper way because the brain just once you start like putting this thought together, then your brain naturally just goes there on its own. So I was avoiding doing a lot of things, and so I had to like work on those things like, no, you're safe, you're okay. I had to start telling myself these things. You can do this. It was like really, really bad stuff. Like anxiety can make your world really tiny, and you're like, okay, I'll stop doing this. I'll stop doing this, so that I don't, to avoid that. But then, like the anxiety just follows you. Like it, it, it just sneaks in and it invades, and it won't stop. So I needed God in those situations where I was like confronting these things and like, okay, I'm putting my trust in God, and I literally had to pray and all of these things. So I know that without God, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I know a lot of people give up when they experience like things, mental health things, and they choose other unhealthy and dangerous ways of coping. So thankfully, God helped me to do it in a responsible and safe manner. Um, so technically, I'm still on that journey to like, and I guess it will be for the rest of my life. And that's what I was talking about in the other video, where it's like, okay, if I'm not eating healthy, then what? Do I want my symptoms to come back or maybe worsen? So it's like, no, for the rest of my life, I have to be aware that there's this history, medical history in my family, and I'm susceptible to that. So I need to watch what I eat. And it's a spiritual thing too. It's not just a physical thing. We can't just say, okay, I'm never gonna eat unhealthy things. It's like when the cravings come, when the opportunities come, we actually need like the Holy Spirit to help us to have self-control about food as well, not just other things, like that we consider spiritual. So I think I'm still on that journey. I to change my thinking about food and to not go back to it's easier to just eat out and I don't like these healthy foods and just I'm trying to figure all of that out right now. Like, okay, what's healthy? What will I actually want to eat? And let's exercise every day and things like that. So thank you so much for asking that question. I think it was Susanna. Let me see if I missed any um, comments here. Um, yeah, I think I answered all those questions. So thank you so much for watching this live video. I'll see you on the next one.